It's not only a pleasure to be between such eminent scientists, an honor, and I've been hearing the various achievements by our scientists and researchers, and I rightly feel humbled to hear the achievements that you scientists are doing, and which is really going to reflect in the future of our country. So namaskar everybody, Vadakkam, all the distinguished dignitaries present here, Srimati Kanchan Devi ji, who is the Director General of Indian Council of Forest Research and Education, ICFRE, Dr. Rajesh Sharma ji, DDG Research, Shri KB Singh Saab, Inspector General of Forest in the Ministry of Environment and Forest, Dr. C. Kunhikannan ji, Director of IFGTB, Institute of Forest. Special mention to Dr. Konsak from CSIRO, Australia, Principal of CASFAS, the Regional Directors of SACAM, the Regional Head of Botanical Survey of India, all the eminent scientists and researchers present here, progressive farmers, tree breeders, planting stock producers, ladies and gentlemen. Before I begin the address, I'd like to also add a few words about myself. Mav was very kind with the words, but I'd like to tell you that I'm also from a farming family, and we had large tracts of farming land in an area called Gonda. Gonda is a district in Uttar Pradesh, and it is below the Nepal border and very near to Ayodhya, on the banks of Saryu. So we had large farm holdings in my great-grandfather's time, grandfather's time, and then of course as time goes by and the nation progresses, land ceiling laws came in, other changes happened, and my father started pioneering at that time, maybe 50 years from now, teak plantations in our area. And abhi hamari baat ho rahi thi, Dr. Saab, I mean, I'm sorry I'm forgetting your name right now, but I'd love to have a talk with you later. I was seeing the photographs. So we have been doing teak plantation for years, and the local people also took ideas from us. And I don't know whether you all will ever get the chance to go to Gonda, but like I was mentioning to ma'am here, that amongst all the districts in UP, you will find the most teak plantations. In fact, all districts it does not happen, but in Gonda, if you come to Gonda, you will see Gonda is a big green district because of teak plantations. A few things have happened. Today we are talking about research on trees and the various commercial kind of trees. I'd like to point out two changes that are happening sociologically in this country, which are very important. First is the old state of social culture that was present in our country years back. All know that especially in villages, in poor families, if girls were born, they were seen as a load, as a burden to the family. When we started teak plantations, in fact when my father started teak plantations, Gonda is a totally rural and one of the most backward districts of UP. We encouraged people to plant trees every time a family gave birth to a daughter, to plant 2-3 trees in her name, so that by the time the daughter comes up of marriageable age, the harvesting of those trees will help in her wedding. आज हमारे आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने एक पेड़ माँ के नाम का भी शुरुआत किया है, which is also has a lot of sentimental value. So that was one thing we started back then. Secondly, as like I said, I come from a farming background, and we all know, यहाँ पे farmers भी हैं, that families बड़ी हो रही हैं, population is increasing, farmers' families are increasing, but the land is not increasing. What is happening to the land is getting divided, subdivided, and further divided, till it reaches a point where sustainable or economical agriculture is not possible. You have farming families, families with two, three children, and they're existing on less than an acre of land. So the natural consequence of that is that the sons or the children go find some other work, some other employment, and these kind of lands are just not very, intensively farmed. You put in the seeds. If it rains, it rains. If it don't rain, it don't rain. Nobody's dependent on that plot of land. So what happens to that land? It's a national waste. It's a national asset. And if you're not exacting the full value of it, the full potential of it from agriculture, that's also a national waste. They are planting trees now, especially in villages where families, they have gained employment in the government sector, or they have shifted to cities. There are large-scale urban migration happening from the rural areas. So what I've seen in my district, that people now plant teak trees, leave them, they come once in 3-4 months, see what is needed, and then they go back. And in 15, 20, 25 years, it gives them produce, otherwise that land would have been wasted. So that aspect of farming will continue to happen in this country. Land holdings will get smaller and smaller. Agriculture, unless we come out with leasing laws, is not going to be viable. So the research that you're doing here today, it's going to have a very value-added, it's going to be very value-added for our agriculture also and our farming community in the near future. So those are the two aspects of my experience which I wanted to bring to you. And of course, it gives me immense pleasure to be here today in the inauguration of this national workshop of tree improvement. And I'm sure it's today and tomorrow also, a lot of new ideas will be given, especially by our farmers here, for new varieties, what are their needs, what is the need of today, what is going to be needed tomorrow. This workshop is also a testament to the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, the vision to evolve national level programs and policies for tree improvement, ensuring wood security while at least trying to double the income of our farmers. So I'd like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to the progressive farmers who I had the honor to facilitate on the stage here, and their remarkable contributions. Your dedication to improving the quality of our forests through innovative practices and breeding programs is commendable. And I would also like to congratulate you on the pioneering step that you've taken. It takes a certain kind of courage to start something new. And you have taken that step, and big congratulations to you all. It is also essential to recognize the contribution of ICFRE in this context. This is the apex body for guiding forest research in India. ICFRE, through the solution-oriented research programs, it addresses both our national and global forestry challenges. And we all know that climate change is a big concern to the world now. And ICFRE, with your research, and you have a very important part to play in combating climate change. I believe I have gotten to know, and I'm happy to know that the work carried out by ICFRE, you have a pan-India presence through 9 research institutes and 5 research centers, and which is spread in different agroecological regions of the country. See, that is very important, because climate, when we are talking about trees, we are talking about plants, we are talking about living things. And we have climate constraints for every species of plants. And I feel it is very essential to focus on indigenous variety of trees and see their commercial viability and maximize their potential first, rather than develop a very commercially viable tree which is suited to, let's say, a very rainy climate, and then try to replicate its success in a state like Rajasthan, which has no rain. So it is very important to study our various geoclimatic regions of our country, and concentrate on first the indigenous commercial variety of trees that are found there, and try to develop them. Like, I was very happy to note in the book that we have released, I had the honor to release today, you have mentioned the mahua plant, the mahua tree. I don't know who are the researchers who have done research on mahua tree, but mahua, from where I come from, is it's a natural indigenous tree over there. And हम लोग के यहाँ जो पंसारी की दुकान, I don't know what you call पंसारी की दुकान in English, but where you get all sorts of grains, rice, you know, उसको क्या कहते हैं? Sorry? Kirana shops. So, हमारे area में, my area, kirana shops always carry a bag full of dried mahua flowers. Would anybody be knowing a dried mahua flowers का use क्या? What is the use? It is one of the most nutritious forest produce that we can consume, and it is given to in the village to our children in the form of porridge. It is ground and used in making chapatis and rotis. So that is the nutritional, that is the use of mahua flowers. There's also another use of mahua flowers. On a lighter note, I'll tell you. Some people are laughing at the back at me. Sorry? Not juice, kind of juice. The fresh mahua flowers, the villagers used to use it to distill liquor, wine. Liquor. You can, yes, more respectable term is wine, I suppose, but it is basically that. And the khali, mahua khali, that is the dried part of the seed once you extract the oil, that has a lot of saponin, and it is used in the chemical and the medicinal industry. So my point is this, that indigenous varieties should be also explored, and their potential should also be maximized. One tree that I would have liked to be mentioned in this book is the jamun tree. Jamun tree has a lot of potential, again in more the waterlogged areas, and I hope someday somebody will take up that research too. Another example I want to give you is sal trees. The area in my district, we have an 8,000 acre forest, and there are a lot of sal trees there. Again, I don't know whether you are aware of it, but the poorer people in our villages, they used to go and collect the sal seeds and use it in the food, because that also has a lot of nutritional value. But then again, it was looked down by the richer people, that they are eating sal seeds, but I'm sure we can develop it to another level now, especially after COVID. You see, there has been a certain resurgence for natural foods, natural vitamins, natural proteins, and these products which were ignored earlier are now being sold at very high pricing in the fanciest of malls and shops. So the Institute of Forest Genetics and Tree Breeding, IFGTBE, it has been making remarkable contributions to forestry research and tree improvement since its inception in 1988. I was surprised to hear that. I thought it's a relatively newer institution. And we have forestry research in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and the Union Territories of Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Lakshadweep, and Puducherry. One has to be, when you are talking about these areas such as Andaman and Nicobar Islands, again, one has to be, the research work has to be very, also, you have to start from the ground up as to what is the existing trees and genetics over there. Over the last 3 decades, I believe IFGTB research initiatives have helped to increase the productivity of a lot of natural and planted forests. The focus on developing fast-growing, climate-resilient varieties of economically important trees like teak and sandalwood has resulted in a release of a number of new varieties, which we all just got to know, for pulpwood, oil-yielding trees, and have, of course, benefited a lot of our population farmers, and have gone on to fulfill the raw material needs of our country. So when we are talking about tree improvement today, it is also important to note that in the coming days, and today and tomorrow, this workshop will review the status of breeding of important tree species and develop long-term tree breeding programs. When I talk about long-term tree breeding programs, you all know that a normal program for trees, lasts for probably not less than 20 years or so. And that continuity has to be maintained, because some researchers who have started the project would have retired by then. So the passing on of the knowledge to the newer researchers in the field is very important. And this is where this institute really comes in. It's very important. And to be supported by collaboration with other research institutes, agricultural universities, and most important of all, industry. Abhi, some gentleman was wearing a shirt with bamboo written on it. There. I'd love to talk to you. You see, until unless industry and business, we do a lot of research work in all fields of science, not just forest, not just agriculture, in all fields. But sad to say, most of the research work does not find its way to the ground. And the only true license, the commercial license or the economical value, is not given by giving certificates or awards. It is when an industry adopts it, then you know that your research has been successful towards this end of, gaining economical value. So collaboration with the industry is most important. So many of our wooden products, like bamboo, yarn for example. Now, how to make that pulp? I'm talking about salt seeds. How to, extract its nutrient value. The method might be very cost ineffective. And if the method is too costly, then obviously it's not going to work. And that is a part of science and technology. It's not your job. It's not our job. And that is where industry comes in. They have the funds to, they can see, they can judge that this product has a lot of economical viability. And they will use their funds to do research on how to the best means, the most economical means to extract the true value from that product. So that is why it is very important to have industry meshed in with the efforts that you all are doing. Tree improvement, like I said, of course, is a long-term commitment. And our collective effort should be in developing pest-resistant, drought-tolerant, and high-yielding tree varieties, especially when we are facing climate change. Disturbed rain patterns, different temperatures, the varieties which thrived 10 years before are not doing so well now. So you have to keep on evolving those varieties, and that is where you all are doing very valuable work. And functional genomics, gene editing, and transformation will ensure that we keep up with these climate changes that are happening. The efforts of IFGTB in commercializing new tree varieties, securing intellectual property rights, and promoting agroforestry, it has transformed, and I believe it will undergo a lot more transformation for forestry practices, not only in India, but maybe we can disseminate this knowledge to other countries, smaller countries which fall in our geoclimate belt. Small island countries, other countries which do not have the capacity, the manpower, the resources to do this kind of research work, we will be helping them in the long run. As far as the budget goes, which is a very important aspect of our research work, our government has made significant investment in forestry research in the last 3 years. IFGTB has utilized over 6,634 lakhs to drive its pioneering work, and I will do my best to make sure that any other budgetary requirement that is needed, we'll try to push it through. So as we are talking about next steps in tree improvement through workshops like this, we must also remember the significant social benefits that these programs bring to our country, which, like I said, improve livelihood to farmers, enhance food security, and better ecosystem management. I could talk a lot about ecosystem management, but sad to say I do not have the time today, so we'll continue with our program as such. Climate change, like I mentioned, is a pressing global environment challenge nowadays, and we have always faced numerous challenges, and inventions have and we have developed inventions that we have come out of these challenges. I was mentioning to my colleague Rohit here that there was a time when we used to live in stone caves, and from that cave age we developed to the nuclear age. So there's nothing we cannot do. We have the advantage, the intelligence, and the industrious nature to achieve whatever we put our focus on. And right now, the world's focus is how to combat climate change. And I'm sure our institutions related to forestry and research will play a very important role in this aspect. Our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, at the UN General Assembly, he said the simplest and most successful way to mitigate climate change is to lead lifestyles that are in harmony with nature. And this was also espoused by Gandhiji in his times. And the work we are doing today, improving the genetic stock of our forests, is a step towards ensuring the harmony while also securing the economic future for farmers. So, towards the end, I'm hopeful that this workshop will bring all stakeholders together, especially our progressive farmers, our research, our industry, and all our departments, to pool in the knowledge, outline what is needed in the next coming years, and focus our energies and resources towards solving those problems that we can foresee now, or providing solutions that can lead to a better practices in forestry and agriculture. Of course, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the organizers for bringing us all here today. And I encourage all scientists, tree breeders, progressive farmers, and planting strong producers present here to continue their effort in innovation and change. And of course, the objective is one, that we ensure a greener and more prosperous future for our nation. So thank you very much, everyone. And like I said, I wish I had more time to be in part of our discussions, which are going to happen today and tomorrow. I also would have a lot to learn, but I'm sure Honorable Director and the officials will give me the salient points of what is discussed by the farmers, by researchers, bioscientists, and what is required, and we will, of course, take it further. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir.